What is up, cheeseheads? Welcome back to another episode of BAM GPG. So, Bryson, it is Sunday. We're looking ahead to next Sunday. Green Bay had the weekend off with that Thursday night football game, but we are taking on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland this Sunday. The matchup, the Browns didn't look good again this week, right? They didn't look great week one. They didn't look good again this week. The couple key matchups you want to look for this game is Green Bay's defensive line and their linebackers. Are they going to be able to keep and sustain pressure on Joe Flacco? I think they will, based off what we've seen the first 2 weeks. And Joe Flacco, I believe on the season, has 2 touchdown passes to 3 interceptions, if I'm correct. So there is an opportunity for our cornerbacks as well to kind of get that takeover ratio, or those takeaway ratios up on the season. I think Green Bay is probably going to come away with a couple different turnovers during the game. I think our defensive line's they're really going to eat this game, right? Joe Flacco is an aging quarterback, right? That's no secret. So he's not as mobile as even a Jared Goff or what we saw last weekend in Jaden Daniels. So I expect big things from our defensive line and our linebacker crew. What is going to be interesting for me in this game, and we'll break down a little more in depth during the week, but it's going to be our offensive line, right? So we have Anthony Belton. I expect him to be starting again at right tackle as our offensive line looks to get fully healthy again. But there is an X factor on Cleveland that you have to be aware of, and that's the guy that just got paid. That's Myles Garrett. So that's going to be an interesting matchup, see where they shuffle him around. I would expect to see some one-on-ones with him and Belton, but for sure, a guy like Myles Garrett, you're gonna have to game plan for. There's gonna be some, I would assume, some schemes to get the tight ends in there blocking and chipping on him. But I think Green Bay is gonna be able to move the ball in this Cleveland defense. They should. The big question mark is who's gonna step up at wide receiver for Green Bay now that Jaden Reed is out. We already know Christian Watson's out till at least week 6-7 time frame. Jaden Reed's out for the next 6 to 8 weeks. So I do expect Matthew Golden. I know he's one of Bryson's favorites. I expect him to step up. I think his production is about to go up quite a bit. So if you have him on your fantasy team, this may be the week to start him. Romeo Doubs, Mr. Consistent. I think he's always going to be involved in the mix. And of course, Tucker Kraft. He had a career game last week, 124 receiving yards and a touchdown. I expect big things moving forward with him. But another wide receiver to keep an eye on for Green Bay with the absence of Jaden Reed and Christian Watson is going to be Wicks, right? I think Wicks is going to have to step up and take a bigger role in this offense now that Reed is gone. So I think Green Bay is going to be just fine. The good thing about wide receiver for the Packers, we have a lot of depth there, right? That's one thing we've never had an issue with over the past 2 or 3 seasons is the depth at wide receiver. Now the drops have been concerning a little bit, but that's not something that I see Matthew Golden having issues with, right? So I think Matthew Golden's going to step into that role just fine. Expect big things out of him. I know the first 2 games has been a little bit quiet. Last game he played against the Commanders, he could have had a breakout game hadn't it been for overthrowing and underthrown pass from Jordan Love. But Matthew Golden, I expect big things moving forward. And again, we'll break down more of this game as the week goes on, some of the key matchups, but a couple early ones to look out for is Green Bay's offensive line. You got a rookie second-round draft pick, Anthony Belton, starting. You have an X factor on Cleveland's defense in Myles Garrett. Now, Cleveland's offense, certainly not something to be too worried about, especially the way Green Bay's defense has been playing, especially that defensive front. And with that defensive front playing that way, I do expect Green Bay to have at least a couple key turnovers during the game. But again, you never want to overlook a team. But Cleveland, they haven't looked great, right? So it's probably only a matter of time before they move on from Flacco and let one of those other young quarterbacks sitting in the waiting kind of take over. So we'll see. But we'll break down this game more as we get into the week here, Bryson. And as always,
it's go Pack Go.